What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is Sergeant Kodiak here with your host. I am bringing you a video today telling you a funny ass story from detasseling. Now, if you guys don't remember detasseling, I did detasseling about at the end of July and in the beginning of August. Now, if you're not from the Midwest or from Iowa pretty much, you might not know what detasseling is. Basically, go look up a picture of a fully grown corn stalk. You will see these little wheat-looking things on top of the corn. That's not good for feeder corn or seed corn or planter corn, whatever you want to call it. Those are very bad. That's for eating. That corn you see there is for eating, I believe. I might be getting them mixed around. But our job as a detasseler, we need to go remove those in their very infant stage so they don't spread the pollen. Alright, no, that's not feeding corn, alright, because if they spread the pollen, it's not ready to eat. It's poisonous, pretty much. And so our job is to sit there on a machine, two of us in a basket. It's basically a fork that with a driver in the middle and two baskets in the front, two baskets on each side, two basket hooked to the front, and two baskets on the side. If I remember, I'll put a picture of a PC carrier for detasseling if I can find one on the internet. If not, maybe I can just do a poorly drawn sketch of one. But being a detasseler wasn't bad. It wasn't that bad of work. It's not hard work. It is hard work, but it's not like literally difficult. It's not literally hard. All you do is you sit there for 5 to 6 hours just pulling. But you might be wondering, it's like, how did you not come home and complain about it every day? Because I didn't complain about it every day. And you might be wondering, how in the hell did you go through all that for 3 weeks in the blazing hot sun, soaking wet corn, and not complain about it? Well, that's because we had entertainment, and this entertainment is not very conventional entertainment. We did not have any radios. We were not allowed to put our earbuds in. We were not allowed to, even though most of us did, we were not allowed to really talk amongst ourselves, but we did anyway. We were not allowed to be on our phones unless it was lunch break. But our entertainment was our drivers. We had 3 drivers, and then at the end of the season, we had 2 drivers because one of the drivers quit, and then we had to fire the whole half of the crew. We had to lay them off because we had too many people. And this one driver I had, his name was Phil. I'm not going to say his last name, but he went by Phil. Michael, if you're watching this video, you're gonna reminisce with me. This guy is insane. I swear to God, he's just putting down the shots. At least 8 of them every day before he came to work. It was bad. Oh my God. Just to start off an example of how I think he was drunk while I'm driving is because me and Michael were sitting there in the front basket. The front basket is not attached, it is attached to the actual machine. So the other baskets on the left and right side can be pushed and maneuvered to adjust to the corn, because the driver has to adjust to the front basket so he's not running over the corn. You do not want to run over the corn because then you lose money. And that money comes out of our paycheck, so we don't want that to happen. And one day we ran over half, I want to say at least 30 meters of corn. And we're like, come on, Phil, adjust. And then finally, we just screamed, Phil! And he's like, what? And we're like, the corn! And so he turns, finally gets it adjusted, and that's just one example of his crazy shenanigans. And this was all the way back, so story number 1, I'll have at least 3. Story number 1 was where this is the first field we done. We were finishing up with our first pass. We had to do a second pass because it sucked. We did a horrible job, but it was the first field. Most of us were new to it. There was like 8 veterans, and they were doing a good job, but that was one machine. 8 people fills up one machine, I think. No, there's like 6 of them, because I know there's just enough veterans to fill up a machine. I don't know. But anyway, there was enough to fill up one machine, so their rows were good, but the other two were filled with newbies. And that's a lot. 2 person a basket with 6 baskets. 2 times... No, I'm not going to do math right now. So that's a lot of newbies. So on our first path, the field was kind of oddly proportionate. These machines are built specially to fit right in between the corn, and it's almost like mowing. If you've never mowed before, you know how you kind of sit there, you do one, like half on the row, and then half on the cut. So it was sort of like that. Like every machine was specially in its own row. Every machine would fit perfectly to not miss a row in between each other, and to where one person in the basket can get left side and the other person in the basket can get right side. So that's how the machines are set up. And this field was just short enough to where we couldn't do that to the last run. So we decided we're just going to trail behind our main commanding officer, Dykstra. So we're trailing behind Dykstra, and the machine starts stuttering, and then this is where Super Phil comes out, as me and Michael nicknamed him, because Phil used to... Everybody hated him because he was so far behind, and he must have been hearing us complain about it, because he floored the damn thing! And I was in the front basket, and next to this girl, I wish I could remember her name. She was kind of cute, a little blonde, but man, I wish I could remember her name. And she just looks at me. She's done it before. She looks at me, hold on, is what she said. I'm like, what? And just, boom. I almost fly out of the damn basket. Like, my boots, the way the baskets are, I can stand perfectly in the middle of it and not be touching anything. But if I move any sort of way to make my width a little bit wider, I'm going to touch the edge of the basket. So I flip my shoes out to where my ankles are touching each other, and yet my feet are going left and right. They're not going straight anymore, if you guys can kind of picture that. And so I catch myself, and then he breaks the damn thing. And so we're flying, and then just slams on the brakes. And I almost go flying out of it again. And then he floors it. I finally get adjusted. He floors it, and I fall back. And it was insane. That was the day of Super Phil. And he almost tipped the damn PC carrier. We're going on it, and there's this one hill. You're supposed to go slow on it, but we were falling behind. And he goes, fuck it. You just hear, and we're sitting there, we're bouncing all over the place. He had to stop before he flipped it. It was that bad. And this was in the first field, mind you. We did 4 other fields beforehand. So, it was bad. It was bad. This gets to the second field, and this field was the biggest field we've done the whole time. This field, or it would have been, or wouldn't have been, would have been the second biggest. Wait, was it? I think it was. I think it was the biggest field. Field was massive, and he just got so sick of it that what you're supposed to do every round is going forward and backwards into the corn stalk. So you cover 2 rows, that's a round. You're supposed to get like a 2-minute break, and every time you get halfway through the round, you're supposed to get a 30-second drink break, while they adjust to get right back into the corn. And as soon as they're in position, they'll give you a few seconds to get a drink, do whatever you need to do. And he just was done with it. And so he sit there, he fly out of the corn once we're going super slow. We're like, oh my god, finally we're almost here. We're going super duper slow. And then all of a sudden he just, and he takes off. And I know these sound effects are great. And he takes off. We're flying all over the place. And we finally hold up. And we get ourselves in positions themselves. Then we're going back to being really slow. Just rinse and repeat the whole time. And finally, we were on our second pass of the field. Everything was normal. We got used to being with Super Phil. Then Super Phil got an upgrade. Super Phil went to Crazy Phil. Crazy Phil is something else. Oh my god, I don't know what's wrong with him, but it was pretty damn funny. So, it was our second pass. We were on the last row, and we had to do the same thing we did with the first field. We had to fall behind Dykstra. And this was after the point we lost our third driver. This was after half the crew was gone. So, we were trying to make haste. So we finally get in position, and he looks at me and Michael, especially because he knows we just kind of chill around when we're not really supposed. Because honestly, their crew was so good, we didn't have anything to do. I knew we weren't going to have, so we were getting relaxed. You know, it's like the last run of the day. We're going to go home. We're going to enjoy this last little ride. Feel the wind on our face from what we could feel through the net. And we're going to enjoy ourselves. And so we start sitting on the bars because we've been standing for 4 hours. Our backs are starting to hurt. And he looks at us, he said, "You don't want to sit down here, because you'll go," and this is where the saying comes from. I don't know if I've ever said it before, but this is a famous catchphrase from Phil himself. "You'll go ass over Apple Jacks over the machine." Don't ask me what it means. I don't know what it means. I just heard it, so now I use it. Those were his exact words. And then he floors it and takes off. He wasn't kidding. We were going to go ass over Apple Jacks over the basket if we didn't hold on. I don't even think I've told my parents these stories, and this would kind of be interesting for them to watch, because it was funny. And so we're flying down the field, and we get to the last little bit, and the machine goes so much faster on flat ground. And Phil pushed the machine so hard, he broke it down, and it broke down halfway through. We're about to go home, and he just, you hear the thing go, shuts off. It shut off about 8 times going through the field. Phil pushed it so much that it broke that many times. That was the funniest thing. We were good. Me and Michael were making fun of him so much. It's like, dude, Super Phil killed the machine. How is this possible? I never thought the day would come. So we were feeling really good. It's like, hell yeah, day off tomorrow because we can't work. And then it turns back on. These machines are like 60 years old. They're basically a supersized lawnmower. That's what these machines are. And, so that was the second field. Then we get to the third. The second field wasn't the biggest. The third field was the biggest. Because at first we were like, yeah, this is a nice short field. Then we get into it. It took us like 3 hours every pass. Passes are half a round. 3 hours every pass. That sucked. And those were the hottest days of the summer. And this is where another Phil saying came from, because the girl that was next to me in the first field had an issue. She wouldn't drink her water when she was out there. So she got dehydrated. When you're dehydrated, you have a lot of stomach issues. So when we're going through, she starts puking. And this isn't a big deal because it's happened multiple times before. We're kind of used to it by now. And I didn't have to see it, so I'm happy. And Phil's like, oh, great. He was complaining about it the whole time. He was basically telling her to shut up and get back to work, because we were way behind. And so she goes back to the bus, and this other kid decides to get off and go back to the bus. And he's sitting there, and he's like, where'd that other kid go? And everything's going wrong. No one knew what was going on. This kid's making fun of Phil, giving him crap. And then he just randomly says, "This is a clusterfuck." Oh my god, this is so funny. Me and Michael were laughing about that forever. The 2 catchphrases, ass over Apple Jacks, and this is a clusterfuck. And then one day, he had a wedgie. The wedgie was so bad, it could define the hairs on his butt cheeks. That's how bad this was. And I'm going to try to remember this rap we came up with. Me and Michael, we came up with the detasseling rap. I believe it's a knees weak. It's a play off of the Eminem song. Knees weak, arms are heavy. Or no, knees weak, corn is ready. My pants are wet already. Phil has a wedgie. Something like that, but it was super funny. And it was bad. His wedgie was bad. It was bad. So we finally get done with the field, and thus was pretty much one of our last encounters with Phil. And we stayed on his machine the whole time. Even though it was the worst machine to be on, we loved it. It was like we made our own little home there. So guys, those are my funniest detasseling stories. Basically, I can go on forever about detasseling, why it sucks, why it was fun, why it could teach you something, and why it pays really good for what you do. But it's not worth the money, I can tell you that for sure. It pays super good, but it sucks. Detasseling sucks. It's something a 14-year-old needs to do, but if you're 15 years old, you can find a better job. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video today. I know he won't care. I believe I asked him once before, like one of the last days of the season, if I could share this, and I never did, because I didn't make videos for the rest of the summer, because I just wanted to relax. We were 2 weeks from school. So guys, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and again, summer's a week and a half away. I have this week and then 3 days next week to do, and then I'm out. I hope you guys enjoy. And I plan on, depending on when you're seeing this, Saturday night, I want to try to stream, but I don't know if I can, because I got a lot of videos to render. I have recorded the past 3 videos all in one night, this being the longest one, I believe. Anyway, guys, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Leave a like if you want to go ass over Applejack, and leave a like if you think Phil is a legend, and leave a comment and saying how many ounces of booze did he have to do these things. Guys, have a great day.